So through discussions with our planning partners and looking at best practices elsewhere and considering the needs of Hartford, we ultimately evolved a citywide program with 4 critical components. And these are the same components that exist today in our statewide Help Me Grow program. The first component was training our child health providers in effective developmental surveillance and screening, teaching the process whereby early detection of at-risk children could be successfully performed. The second component was creating a resource inventory of all of those community-based programs and services that were designed to address children's behavioral and developmental needs and support families in promoting children's optimal behavior and development. Creating such a resource inventory that is up to date, that captures the capacity of a program, the eligibility requirements, the sustainability of a program, that accurately describes the services delivered by a program is a very crucial, very challenging task. It was an integral part of our citywide and now statewide program. Third, really the centerpiece of the program, was our referral and monitoring system to link young children and their families with early childhood services and support. And this was done through a telephone access model whereby child health providers, parents, child care providers, and others could call in, and then care coordinators at the other end of the phone would work with families to identify culturally appropriate, geographically appropriate programs and services, and then work with the families to ensure that the linkage occurred, report back to the child health provider that the linkage had indeed occurred, and do whatever outreach was necessary in order to facilitate a successful referral. And then the final component of this program has been collecting data, looking at children's developmental and behavioral needs, identifying where the gaps are, identifying where the capacity issues are to inform our advocacy. And part of the reason that we did this was that we understood there would be gaps, there would be capacity issues, and the data would be very helpful in terms of addressing them. But admittedly, this was also a strategy to quiet the naysayers and the skeptics. Those who said, yes, you will be successful at early detection, but you're not going to be able to find the relevant programs and services in resource-poor Hartford. We didn't believe that, but we said, if you're right, we will document where the gaps are and use that to inform our advocacy. Well, our experience in delivering this program over 3 years in Hartford was that we served about 150 to 200 children each year. Hartford is a small city, I would remind you. 80% of the children served through this program were of preschool age or even younger, infants and toddlers. The majority of referrals were for a single need. So the system wasn't overwhelmed by families having multiple needs that required addressing simultaneously. And little did we realize the importance of our finding that the number one need on the part of parents was assistance in addressing children's their concerns for their children's behavior. That is, parents were seeking help in addressing behavioral concerns that were arising within the home setting, within the child care setting, or elsewhere. Certainly also, parents were seeking help in assessing their children's development when concerns with respect to developmental delays arose, but we will come back to the significance of behavioral concerns and how helpful this was in enabling us to secure support for the statewide program. 2/3 of the referrals made through Help Me Grow in Hartford were at no cost to the family, to the state, or to managed care organizations. And we were confident that we were, if you will, demedicalizing problems. That is, we were preventing unnecessary or ineffective referrals to medical specialists, such as neurologists, in favor of referrals to these community-based programs and services that, again, were either very low cost or at no cost and had capacity to address the needs of these families and their children. We did follow up because we realized that data would be extremely important in making the case for statewide replication. And given the challenges of delivering services to a disadvantaged, poor, highly migratory population, we were pleased to find that up to 2/3 of children and families were receiving services at follow-up, particularly since we couldn't even find 1/3 of the children and families given their migratory and transitory nature. We were even more pleased to find that 90% of Hartford's child health providers were not only familiar with the Help Me Grow program, but the majority had made referrals and were satisfied or highly satisfied with the services that were developed.